opened the door, it hit me. My 180-pound, 48-year-old brother collapsed in a pool of his own urine. "For God's sake, Mark, wake up!" I shouted in a voice that almost didn't sound like my own. My older brother, part of one of this country's best SWAT teams, was just an hour later all wrapped up in an adult diaper. As a young nurse shoved a 16-inch catheter down his pee hole to stop him from dribbling those 10 pathetic drops of pee on the white sheets. I couldn't believe my eyes that the one we all saw as a rock in this family was lying helplessly in a cold-lit ICU room. I was furious at myself for not noticing sooner his harmless prostate problems. Furious at his soon-to-be ex-wife because she didn't tell us any of the symptoms he was hiding from me, and that she kept his shame hidden from us. And furious at the doctor who prescribed him the darn standard medicine in the first place. Medicine, which instead of healing and shrinking his ballooning prostate, actually swollen it 5 times the normal size. He trusted not one, but 3 specialists who all assured him that he'll be fine and brushed off any of his concerns without a second thought. But as bleak as this sounds, I am telling you this because if you are a man who's already into his gray-haired years, you are 93% more likely to suffer from prostate issues. So at this point, it's no longer a question if your prostate will balloon in the future to the point where it could pop any minute, but it's a question of when it will hit. But here's what I can tell you in the next minutes if you stay on this video. The 2 popular prostate treatment drugs that pharmaceutical companies want you to guzzle down, despite Harvard clearly pointing out that they put you on the list for imminent prostate total failure and other deadly diseases. How one CDC report shows that 93% of men will have prostate issues. The 3 inflamed prostate warning signs that you should never, ever ignore if you're over the age of 45. Hint, one of them will probably show itself in the bedroom tonight. The $1.63 a day prostate miracle protocol that one Doctor of the Year winner can't stop talking about. Honestly, the only reason you're even hearing about this nightmare story is that it also led to the revelation of a simple yet powerful prostate healing discovery that put me on Big Pharma's hit list. This is the 3rd time I have uploaded the following presentation, and they always take it down and try to hide my expose on their shifty practices and criminal activity. And it really makes no sense that people who claim that they want to help you would actually try to suppress this important video that helped over 17,856 men all across the U.S. save their lives and dignity. People like Jason S. from Boston, who says, "I've been having problems taking a leak for weeks. I was desperate to go every 15 minutes. And each time I felt like if I didn't go right that second, I would end up wetting myself. But I swear that every time I did go, all that came out was a stop and start dribble. The feeling of an empty bladder seemed like such a distant memory for me. I was always playing bathroom detective, constantly on the lookout for the nearest bathroom wherever I was. And within just 3 short weeks, it had gotten so bad I couldn't even sleep a wink because I would have to get out of bed at least 16 times per night. It honestly feels like a cruel joke. I work out, I run, I eat well, I even stopped drinking, but no matter what I do, my body's just falling apart. But thanks to you, I am now peeing like a horse, satisfying my wife like a stud, and sleeping like a baby all through the night. Thanks, Sam." Well, thank you too, Jason, because of people like you, I feel confident enough to put this video out again and again. Hi, my name is Sam Morgan, and I am the most hated man in Big Pharma's board meetings. If you are over 45 and a man, then know this. The Big Pharma conglomerates now have a cash price on the head of each able-bodied man in America. And if you don't believe me, just think about this shocking fact I came across while researching what I could do for my poor brother. The global prostate treatment market is expected to reach $12 billion by 2025. For example, Provenge cost $93,000 for a course of treatment, while Zytiga costs about $5,000 a month. Sanofi's Jevna costs about $8,000 every 3 weeks. With other pricey drugs on the way, they could be talking easily tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands per patient or more over the course of therapy. So right now, each man who falls prey to this seemingly harmless urinary problem risks not only public humiliation, emasculation, physical discomfort, life-threatening kidney failure, but also bankruptcy. Unfortunately, the reason I went down the rabbit hole looking for answers was my brother. My strong brother who brought dangerous criminals in the hands of justice and who protected and served this country's justice system while we all slept like babies. My strong brother who could make any woman weak in the knees with lust even well after 45 was now just a shell of a man, humiliated every few hours as a young nurse would hold him down and insert a catheter in his manhood just so that he could eliminate the 10 drops of pee stuck in his bladder. It was gut-wrenching to see him like that. And that's why I don't want any other family in this country to go through what we did. My brother was sick and not conscious half of the time from all the toxins that were now spilling in his blood, causing him to hallucinate and pass out and into lucidity. The doctors wanted to know more details about what he was taking and for how long, but none of us knew what to tell him. My brother was nothing if not a very private guy, and if I hadn't gone looking through his stuff that very same day, I think he would have taken this secret to his grave. As soon as the doctor told me that they couldn't treat him until he knew if he was already on any other prostate inhibitors, I just got in my car and rushed to his home. The bathroom cabinets held nothing of interest, so I knew I had to dig more. Making my way through each room of the house, I swear to you, I was feeling so defeated and disappointed that I'd have to walk back into the waiting room empty-handed. But luckily, just as I was sitting in my car in his driveway, it hit me. The garage. I frantically went through each box and bag I could find, but still nothing was there. The more I moved around, the more I felt the faint smell of urine every time I passed by the trunk of his car. And when I popped it open, lo and behold, my brother's dirty little secret. In one of the bags, there was the underwear he had soiled, but probably hadn't had the chance to throw out yet. Another paper bag held 4 new pairs of underwear, which I assume were his emergency kit. And one last black bag held what I then found out to be the worst mistake he ever made. 2 half-taken boxes of Avatar and Prostate. You see, when you finally can't take the humiliation of trying and failing to hold in those few drops of pee when you are at the cinema or at a dinner party, you will end up going to a doctor who is on Big Pharma's payroll and who will prescribe whatever brings the best payout for them. After bringing it to the doctor and explaining what I had found, the doctor simply shrugged and said he'll need to consult with his peers and come up with something that may or may not save my brother. Before leaving the room, he also turned to say something that stuck in my brain like super glue. I would lower my expectations, Mr. Morgan. It's not looking very good. I called my brother's wife and told her to get to the hospital now and tell me what she knows from all of this. And friend, nothing could have prepared me for what she had to say. My poor brother's symptoms were something he had brushed off entirely until one Sunday morning. He woke up terrified by his wife's scream of disgust. He had peed himself through the night and didn't even feel it. That's when she forced him to go to the doctor. But as odd as it may sound, that was just the beginning of their problems. Because soon after getting his treatment from the doctors, the next day, he was basically a eunuch. He was constantly complaining that his gems were painful and inflamed, so much so that she was not allowed to even touch him because he'd get angry. She broke down crying, remembering that humiliation of begging for her husband to even see her as a woman again. He was just grumpy, never slept for more than 3 hours straight because he'd soon rush to the bathroom just for her to hear 3 weak dribbles hit the ball. Mark was in so much pain that he could barely sit on a chair without feeling the need to go again. But he always put on his brave face, and we could never tell what suffering and pain went behind the tough outer shell. I couldn't